Welcome to Jewels for Fools. I am your hostess with the mostest, Vampachino, not Vampacino.
Wow.
To my left, there's a guest here today.
Bitch. First of all, if it was the mostest, wouldn't it be the bigger person that's the mostest? Not. I'm hype nasty. Before we even get into that, I'm hype nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
This is Zach on the host. You see how introduction was trash.
No, it's not. I was smiling. They love anyway.
What we got going on today, right?
Don't want.
Whoop. We don't have that going on. All right, so today, no, honestly,
We gotta talk about that too.
yeah, the Kanye's that
Kanye's funny.
another time. But right now, so we watched the interview a minute ago, but we were supposed to make this episode, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know if y'all seen it or not. If y'all didn't, it was on the Breakfast Club with the young lady that did the interview on sex trafficking.
So, what's
Which
her name?
that's in itself, that's a lot in itself. But I'm not really gonna get into that today. But there was something that she said that kind of I wanted to talk about and get into it because I feel like it's a problem that we run into a lot of times as parents. You know, as far as like normalizing toxic things in our kids' lives. So like on an interview, the lady brought up about the fact that she had been molested. You know what I mean, by like her stepdad and like her cousins and all that stuff, and how like that became the norm for her. It was normal, it was regular. So it was like how she kind of looked at it, was just like, well, if I'm at home, they're going to be taking it off me anyway.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
That's so...
I'm looking for the girl's name specifically because I want to know her name.
But yeah, I know. I knew her name, but I can't think of it right now. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was very interesting that she even normalized, like, you know, like, well, that was normal for her, like, you know what I mean, like, but she kind of made the comment, like, that she like they gonna be having sex with her anyway, either at home, so she might as well just be getting paid for it, because either way it goes, people's taking sex, and like
That's just so nonchalant, though.
to me, for me, that stuck out to me, and what I want to talk about is I want to talk about normalizing things for your kids, because like that's an important thing to me. Like, yeah, I'm saying, like, I don't want to get a lot of DMs. No, I was not sexually assaulted, so I don't want people to think that I can give you insight on that and on a victim standpoint, because that's not my story. Like, if you need to vent, by all means, hit the DM. But just to clarify that, because I don't want people thinking that I can identify like that and give and share a story.
Insert.
Right, but but I wanted to say, but my story with it, my part of it is like for me growing up, I was exposed to someone that was really, really psychotic, very, very psychotic, that was really, really, really close to me, that like shared a lot of things with a kid they shouldn't share. Like, you know what I mean, about like hurting people, killing people. You know, shared a lot of things, and it was something that I viewed was normal. You know what I mean? So so for me growing up, having like psychotic thoughts or thinking it's regular to want to hurt people or finding any type of pleasure in any way, you know what I mean, with you know, with things of that nature, you know, like it took for me to really get older to really understand how toxic that stuff really was, and the issues that it caused within me, because like growing up I thought it was normal, like it's okay, like, you know what I mean, like there was nothing normal about somebody talking to me about torturing somebody. There was nothing abnormal about that. It was all normal, like, you know what I mean. So I thought it was important in this episode to really shed light on some of these things, like, and just kind of like talk to, especially like parents, with just being aware of the people that you keep around your kids, bring around your kids, be it romantic, friend, shit, other family members, shit, even yourself. You know what I mean? So we really wanted to touch base on that, because that's important. Because like, you know, when you're bringing your kid around toxic people, you're potentially passing on those traits to your kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just the truth. Like, I'm saying, you're pre-exposing them to toxic traits that they might not ever be able to shake. You know what I mean? Like, so I know that's kind of what the interview did for me. Like, cause you know, like I really wasn't feeling that. You know, like I still struggle with my own, you know, anger issues and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And because of those things, you know, even being aware of it, even acknowledging it. So like, I kind of wanted to be that light, to even see it in that sense, like, yo, like, it really, it's a battle, like, every day, like, so be more mindful of who you bring around your kids, like, you know what I mean, or be mindful of yourself and working on yourself and your growth, so that you're not that toxic trait for your kid. Like,
what do you think that your toxic trait would be if you were around kids or anybody that could be influenced? What would you think that would be something you'd be like, oh, I have to be mindful of that?
I think that for me, and it's not like, oh my God, I'm perfect, I'm cured, you know what I mean, or nothing like that, but like, I think that like...
You cuss a lot.
Yeah, I cuss, but
that's not good.
But
kids pick up on that.
But
though.
that's nothing to do with like toxic traits for me.
That is a toxic trait. A lot of profanity and stuff like that.
That's
and then the kids will go to school. I swear.
That's a matter of
opinion. I swear to goodness, I used to go to school and we go to these programs and stuff like that, and these kids, these behaviors, they're reenacting their parents. How they yell, scream, holler.
If cussing is a toxic trait, that's a toxic trait that I don't mind passing on. like,
for real, and I say that people censor their conversations in front of kids. The profanity stuff like that. People choose not to. Like, oh, don't be don't be cussing in front of my kid. For real. Yeah, I know people that be like, don't cuss in front of my kids.
And I get that. I mean, I was raised with my grandma. I was raised like children are to be seen, not heard. So like we didn't cuss, we didn't do nothing. And like my mom, like I mean, like it was like. I tell people like I grew up in a household of free expression. Like you know what I'm saying. So like don't get it twisted. Like you know what I mean. Like I was that kid that if I'm walking down the street and I'm cussing with my friends, like and I see an adult, I'm gonna be apologetic because I was raised that way. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like being my mom, you know what I mean, and in that household, it was just we were able to express ourselves freely however we seen fit. You know what I'm saying? And if that meant cussing and all that stuff, like I wouldn't see for me personally, like yeah, I mean, and I understand that a lot of people are against that, but I'm not saying just let your kids just cuss like a sailor, but like I believe in allowing kids to express themselves however they see fit. Like you know what I'm saying? I mean, teaching them the right way in certain places, but like overall, like I'm not about to be like. You said bitch. Like my kid come home like, Mom, this bitch did. I'm gonna be like, whoa. Don't you call her a bitch. Don't you call her a bitch. Like, and then she tell me a girl smacked her. I'm like, get that little bitch.
That little bitch smack my baby.
You know what I mean? But I'm talking about something like, I'm talking about real mental, psychological, like physical, emotional, like damage, like you know what I'm saying, like those type of traits, like you know what I mean, like I mean, I'm talking about that person that's angry as hell and just beating people up, like and you like that being
also. I'm sorry, promiscuous ways children pick up on it.
Absolutely.
So I'm on the more side of I've seen a lot of women with multiple partners in and out the homes. That is very toxic, and it's not a good look to your kids because they don't really have any type of stability. They start to lose a little a little bit of disbelief in you now. They don't believe in the things that you're doing because they like, come on, first he was here and he was here and he was there. I don't know who this it's like you gotta watch that revolving door because they're paying attention to that shit. So they're like, okay, all right, this one was here for 6 months, this one here was for a year, this one was for 3 months. I don't think that you should expose your children to every single person that you're talking to. And I think a lot of people make that mistake. Like, oh, well, this is what comes with me. So I don't want, because there's two sides to that. Some people will feel like I have to tell people and, about my kid or whatever, because they might not like kids or they might not, whatever the case may be. And they don't want to have them, because you imagine like keeping your kid away for like 3-4 months and then you bring them around the person you've been dating and then you're like, oh, they don't get along. I don't like how they interact. Right. So that's a hit and miss sometimes, but that's called better judgment too. You have to be able to make good judgment. You cannot sit here and just be like, oh, I like him and he got to know that I got kids. You have to know that this is a person that you kind of see that will be around your kids for the future, And if you're just around hoeing, they shouldn't see your kids anyway. If you're just out doing you, that's cool. They should never be seeing your kids.
I don't. For me, I think that I agree with you. Because I'm one of the people like if you have kids, I feel like people like what's too soon, what's too late. You know what I mean? I feel like the point at which you take somebody serious, you can introduce them to your kid. Yeah. I do still feel like it should be limited because like even with people, like you don't really know people off the rip. Even a person can present themselves like you think the average mom who's had a mate. You know what I'm saying? That sexually assaulted their kid. You think they seen that in them?
No, you think
the mom or dad who was with their maybe with their woman or their man and they're playing stepdad or stepmom and then one day they killed a kid. You think they seen them traits in them? No, they did not. Like
they wish they did because they went that far.
They don't see them traits. You know what I'm saying? Because they see the person they love. They see them a different way. So my thing is even if you do introduce your kid to people be mindful of what you're doing and limit it. You know what I'm saying?
What limit you want? What do you want? Like, what is the? I
gotta feel like for me personally, I feel like once the point in which you start leaving kids alone with that person, you need to have seen like every side of that person. Period. I mean, like I don't mean just they're sweet. Oh my God, loving. Oh my God, they're doing for my kids. I mean, you need to see them snap the fuck out, be angry, be mad, whether it's at you, everybody. Pay attention to all that stuff because these are traits that could that could potentially influence your kids.
Yeah.
It's like if you got a mate and it's all cute, like, you know, because, like, let's be clear, it's all like you might be a female, you might be messing with a dude, and it's like it's cute for him to pick up the you know, the toy gun and have your son, you know, like bow bang bang murder, and it's joking and it's cute until your son's 15, 16 years old still picking up real guns and really killing people. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm saying, like, yeah, I mean, you gotta really, like, I feel like a lot of times y'all be out here dating people and don't be realizing who you date and how that can affect your kids. Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Because my thing is, you had these kids, you put them on stuff. You have to care about who you bring around.
You have to be accountable.
Even when there is a life after your kids are raised and start their own life, you still have to be mindful of it, because every person that you bring around them could potentially have an influence on them. Yep. Period. Point blank. You know, people be inspired. You never know where your kid's gonna be inspired to see something. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the truth. You have your kid have good grades. You give him everything under the sun. You and your man got a good job. You know what I mean? But then his best friend's a drug dealer, drive around in a Benz that got all the ice and all the chains, and you bringing him around, and he flashing money, and he giving it to your son, and he's looking like, well, I mean, my dad, I mean, I don't want for nothing, but, like, I want what he got. You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Now you got a son that want to be a hustler. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm not saying that you can completely cut everybody out, like shelter your kids and don't bring them around the body,
but the person that you should be dealing with should be mindful.
Right. That should
you're my friend.
Right.
I'm not bringing you around my daughter if I know that you're doing a bunch of wild shit too. So you have to be mindful, and you have to take responsibility for everybody around your kid. Right. So it doesn't just end with who you're dating. It ends with the friends too. It ends with the family members they have as well, going over houses and stuff. You have to know, because it could not just be him. Right. It could be his cousin. He go past his mom's and his perverted cousins at the crib. Right. You know, so you just have to be mindful of the family. Once again, what you say, once you start leaving and letting, you know, your kids go with people, you should have seen a full perspective of some shit, so that you don't have to ever feel, if anything ever kind of goes wrong or anything that they are exposed to, you know that you did all you could and you crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's.
Real talk.
That's it. Like, you don't have to be upset if
because you gotta be a
people.
parent first. Certain stuff you understand. You ain't gonna understand until you get older. When I was younger and we wasn't allowed to go to all the sleepovers, I'd be mad as fuck. I didn't understand it. My mom was the worst.
Damn,
pissed
my
off.
mom's weird as
hell. And then when I got not even, I ain't gonna say of age, but by the time I got to high school, maybe even middle school a little bit. By the time I got to middle school, there was so many people that was my friends telling me about how they had been molested and shit like that. I was so happy. I was like, that shit is crazy. Like, I mean, I was so happy that I didn't get to tell that story. And then, like, the more stories I heard, the more appreciative I start being of how my mom was. Like, you know what I mean? But in the moment, I didn't realize that.
Hell no.
That's another thing. You want to be
swear. They be like,
trying to be too friendly with your kid can become a toxic trait. Period. That in itself can become a toxic trait.
As in what? Because spin off from what you mean. Because a lot of people do try to have that friendship.
There's levels to it.
It blurs like a motherfucker, and then they be swole.
Because my thing is like this is like once they can't take you serious, like, you know what I'm saying, and it's too friendly, and they feel like because what do you do with your friends? You do everything with your friends, right? 9 times out of 10. Yeah. So when you're creating that nature in your household, it's kind of like you know what I'm saying, like
that respect will start dropping, man.
Right, that respect start dropping, and how do you get the structure? How do you teach them the structure of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? How do you feed into that what is it? Like, do as I say, not as I do. Like, you know what I mean? How do you, like, you know what I mean? That's like, come on now. And when it's too friendly, they can't buy into that. They're like, no, it's good for you. It's good for me, Mom. We do everything together.
You know what I mean? And be mindful of the conversations your children are overhearing as well. Conversation is it's bad. I've been around people where kids are just hearing way too much, and you just be like, you wonder why, and then you start to hear little rebuttals from them, and you like, you know, at first it's cute when they're little. Sometimes you be like, that cute shit burns out fast once you get a little older. You're like, damn, it was cute when they was like talking back and making little jokes and shit and referring to certain shit. Now it's like, yo, I will whoop your little ass. Like, who are you talking to? And you don't want to start building that relationship. How do you feel about beating kids? Do you feel like, what do you feel like as far as discipline? Do you think that discipline in your kids in a certain manner could be?
I believe in it. Half talking, half ass whoopings.
So you believe in beatings, right?
I appreciate my chastisement that I got as a kid. Like, my man,
coming from me, I never got beat, and look how it turned out. Turned out wonderful, you know.
Don't let these cameras fool.
Warning! Don't touch me. Yes. No, for real, I never got beat. So you gotta understand, I have a different perspective of things as well. So it's like I never got beat. I didn't have to worry about like, oh my God, there was such big consequences when I go home. Like, I didn't have to worry about that.
talk to your mama.
I got a doctor. That did not work.
Yo, you 32 years.
Man, listen. But I've seen people take beatings and things like that too far.
I believe in 50-50, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Been
honestly,
too far.
because I think that communication is key for real. Like, cause
Your voice is
if
powerful.
we're gonna talk about toxic traits, we definitely gotta talk about a healthy trait, which is the bridge and the window of communication and having that with your kid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always tell people, like, you know, they always say you're gonna take certain things out of your childhood and all that stuff. And for me, like, you know, to grow up in a household where there was free expression and my voice was able to be heard, and I always knew the importance of my voice. Like, you know what I mean? It helped shape me and give me a great sense of self at an early age. And, you know, once you build that bridge with your kids and really talk to your kid and let them talk. You know, a lot of times we kind of be adults and being parents, and we forget what it's like to be a kid and have an opinion and want to say something. Like, you know what I mean? Because we become parents and we go in a straight dictatorship. I feel like, you know, in that you have to find balance. You have to find balance in, you know what I mean, and allowing it to be kind of still a give and take even when you're parenting, because, like, kids can teach you some things, like, you know what I mean, if you let them.
Because you be forgetting.
You know what I mean?
Shit,
because
when they
still,
come in with homework, you be like, damn, I forgot all about this.
because you have to remember, like, you were like, there's still little people, and there's little people that still have their innocence. After a certain age, our innocence is gone. We see the world for what it is. So in that, like that's a refresher in itself, because they're seeing the world through a whole different perception. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you got to be mindful of that.
It's
Like,
new, they're gullible, they're open,
Yeah.
they're willing, their minds are sponges. So that means any and everything around them can possibly affect. So you have to be mindful of your friendships. You have to be mindful of the relationships. You have to be mindful of your family members, because family members be fucked up too. You got that auntie that be doing the most, you know what I mean? And having your kids do bad shit when she's watching them. Be mindful of who you have around your children. It's not about just who you're dating. Your whole environment can be fucked up.
And as far as, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, start working on yourself and stop being accepting of your bad traits. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
stop
just how I am.
saying I got a fucked up attitude. Yeah, everybody not got a fucked up attitude. This,
She
with
get
this.
it from me.
And it's like, well, why is that becoming? That's becoming of your legacy.
Why would you
know
want
what I
your
mean?
kids to be labeled how you were labeled? You know what I mean? Oh, I mean, I love her, but her little mouth. Like, why would you want somebody to be referring? Because you know how it felt when you overheard something like that.
Right.
You know how it made you feel. You like, damn, like,
Or the
I wanna go.
misperceptions because of it. Like, oh, you ain't having sex, but you're the fast girl.
You're the fast girl because you could dance, or you're cool, or everybody like you, or you're always on the team, or you're built. So we all have that thing too. Sometimes kids, you know, develop faster than others, so they already got this thing in your mind. Like, oh, she a little too fast. She a little too this. She a little too that. You do not want your kids to even have to deal with, you know, just try to cut out what you can.
Right.
You know what I mean? Make it as easy as possible, but as understanding as you can.
Right, and just be, like I said, be mindful of, just like I said, the things that we're normalizing, like, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, it's like that be the thing too. A lot of things that, like, when kids believe it's okay, it becomes something that you don't speak on. It's like, oh, that's regular. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like the feedback off of, like, I originally started this. It's like, that's the truth. You don't want to do that. You don't want. You know, like for instance, like we talked about this. I think we talked about this briefly. Like, even as far as like dads disciplining like daughters and all that stuff. And I said, I said that. And I said I don't. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. I don't believe in dads disciplining, you know, their daughters.
No.
And like and you know, some people ask me why, and I just be like, I think that, you know, that you're allowing your daughter to believe it's okay for a man to put his hands on her. So you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's a bad trait in itself to possibly, like, even instill in your kid or your daughter. And then a lot of times y'all be surprised, you know, when women or they're okay with, you know, like, being in abusive relationships. Same thing with, like, you know, being in, like, you know, even if you know, the dad's not disciplining the daughter, but even you being in an abusive relationship,
Right.
like, you know what I'm saying, like that when you're normalizing that, and that becomes how you express love through, you know what I'm saying, you arguing and your kid is perceiving it like that, then 9 times out of 10 they're going to have unhealthy relationships and show their love like that, like, you know what I'm saying, like, and we got to be more mindful of that, like, you know what I'm saying, because, like, if our mental health doesn't become, like, the forefront of, like, everything we do in life, and especially in parenting, that we're going to continue to fail generations. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like that's just the truth.
I've always been a strong believer because, like I said, the dad has a very important role. And I think that anytime I refer to my dad, we knew that was the last punishment. Like, he's talking, meaning he's going to talk to you. And dads give that such that you fear him a little bit. So you don't want to disappoint him at all. And if he got to talk to you, you know you really fucked up. Mom, deal with your daughters. Mom is the one that's going to be going, because mom can understand a girl like a man can understand a boy. I was a boy before. A mom wasn't never no man before, or a little boy before. So it's hard to have those type of, you can't check him on certain shit. Like a man could sit down and talk to his son and chastise him and still teach him and treat him. You know what I mean? Versus the mom, because he can't sit down and be like, hey, baby, how would you do? Oh, okay, you tripping because you on your period. He can't talk to her like that. You can, though. Like, you know that she's flipping out because she's going through puberty. You know what's going on with her, so you can relate way better than a dad can. So it's like dads don't know. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with this little girl? She acting fucking crazy. I can't control this motherfucker. I'm locking her in the room and shit. And you like, because you don't know a woman versus how a woman. Because no, for real. Because when you're getting in trouble, you go to your room. All they know, for real. All they know. I never got locked in my room. I told you I never got disciplined.
No beating.
So no, think about it. If a dad don't know how to check his daughter, what do you do? Send her away. Go ahead, go with your mom. Or go upstairs, or you know what I mean? And that's not helping. That's just so dismissive because he don't know what he's doing. Right. You know what I mean? So I feel like, it's good to have that 1-2 punch where the mom is really checking her and everything like that, and then the dad comes in and follows up and be a man and comfort her a little bit, but not make her an enemy of the mom. Some of y'all don't know how to, really deal with that either. Stop making the kids involved in y'all's personal relationships. They shouldn't even be seeing that. Like, oh, your mother is this. Oh, well, your father is that. That shouldn't be a part of the shit either. That's bad too. That's toxic too, because then all they're hearing is no communication amongst y'all two, which will be easier for them to be in a relationship with someone they can't talk to. And they don't know how to have common ground because all they seen is their mom and dad go back and forth and bicker. It don't matter if y'all in the same home. If there's no communication, if there's no union, that's broken too. So they're seeing a bunch of broken relationships. It ain't got to be beatings. It ain't got conversation and communication. All that broken shit is fucked up too, because then now I don't really know how to deal with people outside of not bickering and not arguing and not falling out. They stayed together for 20, 30 years, but they argue for 20 or 30 years. That's a long time of miscommunication. That is being beat in your kid's head. So then when they go out here to date, they only know how to yell. They only know how to fall out. They don't have any type of nothing to sew that together. They're like, well, shit, my mom and my dad, I see a lot of people always say, oh, my mom and dad stayed together 30, 40, 50 years, but was it good? Or did you see a lot of broken shit in there? You're like, some people can take that, assess it in their real life and move forward. But others can't.
Everything's going to be toxic.
Others can't. But communication is very important. You see 30 years of non-communication? Come on, 30? That's a long time for motherfuckers to be sleeping upstairs and the other one sleeping downstairs. That's a lot. That's bad. So I'm not about to hear that. It ain't got to be physical, but that shit be messed up when you're in a home full of just brokenness. It don't matter if you stay together. Shit, I'd rather y'all separate than have me in this shit. For real.
But overall, just just check yourself, man. Check yourself and step back and realize reflect on your toxic traits, reflect on people around you's toxic traits, and be mindful of how that could play out on your kids. This parenting shit don't come with a book, you know what I mean? But
I'm gonna write a book on this.
This parenting shit don't come with a book. You know what I mean? So ain't nobody gonna get it perfect, but we definitely can be more mindful of those things, and we can possibly, hopefully, get a grip of our kids and do better with our kids. You know what I mean?
Make it as easy as possible for yourself.
Right. It
starts with yourself first. You are the apple at the top of the tree, and once that shit get to pinging and falling down, you're knocking and shaking everything down with it. Just be mindful of what you're doing and showing all your kids. Right. Because some of y'all have more than one children.
Let's start normalizing healthy and not toxic. You know what I mean? Let's stop being okay with toxic and start promoting more health. You know what I mean? And that's basically what this was about, because that part really shocked me. Whenever she said on the interview, you know what I mean? Because I was just thinking all I could think was, dang, how disturbing that is, that could be the norm for a kid. No, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And like I said, it helped me reflect on myself about how about all those crazy thoughts of myself was normal for me, you know what I mean? And I struggled with that for years. You know what I'm saying? On whether it was normal, you know what I mean? Or not. It took me a long time to identify it as something toxic. And that's the even sadder part, you know what I'm saying? I'm definitely just, sharing that to just, try to shed light on that. Some things, I'm able to, get a grip on it and let it be a constant battle that I fight. But it's imagine if I hadn't.
That's true. No, for real.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
All
you know,
them shoulda, coulda, wouldas, man.
Like-
Get them out the way.
like,
Knock them down.
especially when you could, you know, like, that's kind of my piece on that there right now.
Yes. Be great, be good, be positive. That's my sign off today.
Feed yourself happy thoughts. You know me. Don't give it a negativity. Straight up.
Warning, I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you.
I'm gonna keep feeding my positivity.
And I'm going to keep being negative next to her ass.
Warning, hater.
Cutting that part out.
Hey, yo.